Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we're going to talk a bit about consolidation for grade 2. Now, in grade 1, consolidation was very straightforward. It was, here's all the chords you need to know, here's the basic strumming, make sure you learn some songs that use all of this stuff and make sure that you've got as much of it as you can to memory. Grade 2 has already started to open up a few other areas of some things that are going to connect more with you than other things, and that's totally fine. We are all individuals, we all have different preferences, otherwise, I mean, world would be pretty bland, right? We'd all like the same band and the same songs and play the same way. Definitely not really what we want. So it's good, it's to be celebrated that we're all a little different. So when it comes to consolidation for grade 2, part of the thing that you want to be thinking about is what you're really enjoying and what you want to get out of playing guitar. Things like the stuck 3 and 4 chords. If you like that sort of stuff and you're playing a lot of acoustic guitar and you like playing Oasis or Pink Floyd or whatever the songs are that you might have checked out that use those kind of chords, then they're definitely something that should be incorporated into your playing. I think part of the graduation process for grade 2 is that you've tried all of those things, but not everything in the course is something that you're going to use moving forward. Let's say power chords. If you're really into folk guitar or whatever, and you don't feel that power chords are something that you're going to get into, then you should have checked them out because it's going to be helpful when you come into bar chords. So the learning of the root note stuff is pretty important. So that's why they're in this place and not just segregated off for only rock people. You should have explored it, but that doesn't mean that it's something that you need to focus on and really nail down. Okay, palm muting. Again, something that maybe is not going to be the kind of thing that's super important for everyone that's into folk guitar or whatever other styles. I don't know, reggae. You don't tend to get a whole lot of palm muting in reggae. So, well, actually, that's a pretty bad example because you do on the little riffy parts, but not in that kind of rock, palm muted eighth notes kind of a vibe. So, part of the growing process, part of the journey on guitar is working out what things to focus on that work for you, the things that you enjoy. At this point, there's quite a few people that give guitar up. And I think part of the problem is that they feel like there are things that they should do that they're not enjoying. And I think the focus for guitar for the first few years at least should be working on the things that you really enjoy. The things that get you excited, that make you look at the guitar and go, man, I want to pick my guitar up. I'm so excited to practice today. Not like, oh, it's been a long day, man. I don't want to practice that scale up and down or do this chord changes or whatever. It shouldn't feel like that. So for you right now, I've tried to give you a taster of a whole bunch of different things that are going to come up further along the journey. The fingerstyle stuff, rock power chords, blues. There's lots of different avenues that you might want to explore. And I've tried to give you a little taste so you've got an idea of where you might want to go, but you might decide that some of the things really work for you and others don't. I'd recommend that you have a solid go at all of those things. Even if you're a rock guitar player and you only want to play, rock metal things, you might think fingerstyle's not worth it, but it depends. If you're into Metallica, then there's definitely plenty of songs that use a bit of fingerstyle. If you're into like really full-on death metal, then probably fingerstyle is less of a thing for you. So you've got to make some decisions about the things that you want to check out. There are some things, techniques and skills that I think everyone should check out, no matter what it is that you're going to move forward with. Things like string muting and potentially getting the thumb over the top, alternate picking, the all-stop mute, reactive listening, whether you're in any kind of soloing, then you want to be familiar with that. So there's these things that are kind of universal that I think everyone should check out. But understand that moving forward, you're likely to get more and more fussy about the things that you check out. So you're going to find that you really, really like bluesy things, or you really like acoustic things, or you like rock things, or whatever. Now, it's okay to like all of them too, I should say. That if you just love music and you love guitar like me, I want to learn all of those things. I'm just as into 60s folk stuff as I am in modern contemporary rock. That's cool. It's good to love all of those things. Part of the journey moving forward is deciding where you want to go now. Okay? Because the danger here is this, this is maybe a bigger conversation, but often at this point where people feel like they're consolidating the beginner's course, they end up in the end of the beginner's course field. And they just kind of wander around in that field, not really sure where they should go. So look at this a little bit and then wander over and watch this YouTube video on this and check that out. And they wander around the field for 6 months there while they're consolidating. Then they find themselves back where they started and they feel like they haven't got anywhere. And that's a pretty dangerous thing, because then you feel like, well, I've spent all of this time and I haven't really gone anywhere and I haven't learned anything. Probably you have. Probably you have learned a whole bunch of things. It just doesn't feel like it. So part of the skill set now that you want to acquire is that of goal setting and figuring out somewhere you want to go and then heading there. Looking at like, okay, I'm here. I want to get to here. What are the things that I need to learn to get there? How am I going to get there? And it doesn't have to be a lifelong decision. You can decide to change your mind halfway. You might decide that you really want to go to blues. So you're going to learn lots of stuff about blues. You listen to a lot of blues. You're checking out all of the different bluesers, strumming patterns, maybe some licks, some solo blues, all of that stuff. And then you're like, oh man, I'm just not kind of feeling it. I'm losing interest in it. I'm losing touch with the enthusiasm for the guitar. So maybe I should go and check out something else. I'm going to go for a holiday in acoustic folk stuff, finger picking, or country guitar, or whatever it is. You can take a holiday somewhere else. You might go on a holiday to acoustic country guitar style. And then you go like, actually, you know what? I love acoustic country guitar. I want to live here. I'm going to live here for a bit. And you might decide to live there for a year or two. But it's this deciding that you're going somewhere and then having a focus point and having things along the way that you're going to learn, rather than just aimlessly wandering around. Okay, and that's part of the consolidation now, is figuring out that stuff. So it's not all just about specific chords and scales and being able to improvise on this and being able to do that, because it depends on what you want to get out of guitar. If you've got a super high pressure job and for you guitar is like a release at the end of the day, you've had a really super stressful job, you come down, the guitar is your thing to chill out with, then don't be stressed about having to learn new things. Find your favorite songs and work out what are the things that you need to learn to be able to play your favorite tunes. What is it that you really, really enjoy? If you don't enjoy scales, don't practice them anymore. Find the stuff that you really love. If you're serious about music, if you're like 17, you're like, yeah, I want to go to music school, I want to be a musician, then it's a slightly different thing. Then you need to think a little bit more about, I'm going to practice this thing which I don't love so much because it's going to really help me do this other thing which I really love. For example, playing scales. Maybe I'm a little bit weird, but actually I quite enjoy playing scales. I find it almost like a meditation. I can play it up and down. I kind of go into this little zone and I can lose 15, 20 minutes just playing them up and down and just forgetting about everything else and getting into this little happy place of being totally focused on one thing. I gather that's not the case for most people, which is totally understandable. And if it's not, then the practicing the scale up and down is something that you want to do in short bursts, but knowing that I'm going to practice this scale for 5 minutes because it's going to really help me do this other thing that I love. And that's the thing that you bear in mind in order to keep happy and motivated to do it. Do you see the thing here? It's all about trying to be finding the things that you really love doing and focusing your energy into taking you to those places. It's the biggest hurdle right now. End of grade 2, this is the point where some people they're finished with guitar. And that I find that really sad, because I think there's so much beautiful stuff coming up on the journey. It's about finding the things that you really love, getting a connection with the music, getting a connection with your journey, and then allowing those things to drive you forward. It could be that, say, you don't need to learn any more chords, that you can play all of the songs that you ever wanted to play. So what's the point then? Well, maybe it's entertaining people at a barbecue. So what's the point then? Is repertoire, learning repertoire. Then it's refining repertoire. It's learning to add in little twiddles, really focusing in on your sus chords and doing maybe the Chord Explorer module, which is coming up in grade 3, about how to add in lots of other notes to your standard chords to keep them interesting. It could be adding scale passages into your rhythm parts. So like going from a rhythm into a little bit of a lead thing. So there's always going to be things to explore, but you've got to decide what it is that you want to do and where you want to go. You might be completely content not to do any more, just to enjoy playing guitar and playing your favorite songs and strumming and maybe singing, or maybe recording. Maybe you want to get into recording, writing songs. If you're really focused on being a songwriter, maybe you don't need complicated techniques. Maybe you just need to play simple stuff really well. Okay, if you want to be a songwriter, that would be my suggestion, is going through this, all of the stuff up to this point and doing it so it sounds great when you play it. That there's no buzzy notes when you strum, that you can focus on doing the changes without looking, that you're in that zone. You can play and sing and record yourself. So you're playing in time, maybe, making sure that you can play to a click track. That kind of stuff is important as well. But the point is, here is the journey, and finding out what journey you want to make and what the things are that are going to connect with you and resonate with you on your journey moving forward. Now, over on the website, I've made a big list of all of the things that we've covered in grade 2. It might be worth having a look back over that and just making sure that there's nothing that you've completely forgotten about, or things that you're like, oh yeah, I was going to come and revisit that. I want you to really have a think about what it is that you most enjoy, and then trying to set yourself some goals to move forward to over the next 3 to 6 months, which is how long I would recommend that you're consolidating for. Don't be in a hurry to move on to new stuff unless you're bored. If you're like, yeah, I've got all of this down, I need some new food to stay interested, then move on. If not, 3 to 6 months, playing your chords, working on your sus chords, working on your improvisation, developing your repertoire, thinking about all that stuff, maybe getting into recording, maybe getting into songwriting, whatever it is that gives you a tickle that you really enjoy doing, that's where you should be focusing your energy. If you've got any questions on this stuff, as usual, chuck them down on the website. Let me know how you're getting on. If you've got any problems, maybe I can help out and add in some stuff that's going to help not just you, but help everyone that follows after you. Because that's kind of what's going on with this course. If you hadn't realized already, I look at all of the feedback and I change things around a little bit to make sure that it's working for as many people as I possibly can. And it's quite likely that the problem or the question that you've got is something that other people are going to have too. So I really appreciate your feedback. I really hope this helps, and I'll see you for loads of super exciting stuff coming up for grade 3. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.